SpaceX has, in many ways, dominated the news this year with the prospect of launching its Starship rocket into orbit in 2022. The one thing that we know about the Starship is the new Raptor 2 engines that SpaceX is adding to the rocket. Musk and SpaceX announced this on Twitter on the 19th of February. In a news-breaking tweet by SpaceX, it said, Raptor 2 generates more than 230 tons of thrust at seal level, up from Raptor 1's 185 tons. The tweet had a video showing a test run of the Raptor 2 engine and its explosive thrust. This is a massive upgrade compared to the first Raptor engine, which was used for the underground prototype Starship. This upgrade will unlock many benefits when it comes to launching heavier payloads more efficiently. This new rocket engine is a game changer for the aerospace industry. In this video, we'll look at the Raptor 2 engine, what it's about, how it will impact space travel, and the future for SpaceX with this engine. Welcome to our channel, where we talk about all things Tesla, Elon Musk, and SpaceX. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe to Elon Forward. Remember, you can leave a comment below and also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. The news about the Raptor 2 first came out in 2021 when Musk teased the SpaceX faithful about the prospects for expanding the thrust level of the Starship to improve the launch that will most likely take place in 2022. The decision to launch in 2022 is subject to the Federal Aviation Administration's environmental assessment. But what many people don't understand is that the Raptor 2 was teased in 2017, but at that time, the name was BFR. Since that time, the Raptor 2 has undergone tremendous changes, with SpaceX having to make many adjustments to ensure that the Starship can take astronauts to the moon. Without a shadow of a doubt, we know that the Raptor 2 is an upgraded version of the first Raptor engine. So let us not bore you with that information, but here's something that will intrigue you. In May 2021, test flights with the Starship prototype running on the Raptor 2 engine reached 33,000 feet. Of course, the excitement had been growing since then. Why? SpaceX broke its previous records as they had some failed test flights, and this was a remarkable achievement in ensuring the Starship launches in 2022. Before we go into the Raptor 2 engine, it's important to point this fact to you. The Starship has two components. One is the Starship itself. The other part is the Super Heavy booster. The Starship measures 160 feet tall and has space for cargo and crew. That's the main part of the ship. The Super Heavy booster is 230 feet tall, and it's with this part that the Starship leaves Earth. The booster can also hold as many as 37 engines. This was revealed by Elon Musk in September 2019. We're dealing with a pretty big rocket, so it's only normal to see and hear these numbers. So we know that the Starship is measured at about 400 feet tall, and it's powered by the Raptor engine. With this next fact that we're about to give you, you might begin to wonder how many components you have to keep up with. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We know that the Starship itself is made up of two components, right? Now, the Raptor 2 engine has two parts, but a more appropriate word is variants. That is a more accepted lingo. These variants are used by the two parts of the Starship. This is also a good time to let you know that the Starship has 6 engines with the variants, so we'll be able to see how they are appropriately shared on the massive, reusable rocket by SpaceX. Now let's talk about the different variants being built. The first variant is called the sea level variant, which is used by the Super Heavy booster. Remember that there are 6 engines used by the Starship. 3 of these engines are used by the Super Heavy booster. The next variant is the vacuum variant, which is adapted for space, so it'll be used by the Starship itself, and it will use 3 of the 6 engines. In 2020, Musk talked about the sea level variant having 200 tons of thrust, but the plan was to increase this to ensure that the Starship reaches optimum performance. In his tweet, Musk talked about changing the thrust power. The current aim is to raise the basic Raptor thrust to 230 tons, or 500 million pounds, and the number of booster engines to 32 or 33. All Raptors on boosters would be the same, whether fixed or gimbaled. The total 33 engines delivering 230 tons of thrust each would equate to a total thrust of 7,600 tons and a thrust to weight ratio of 1.5. Experts have corrected the statement that 230 tons are not 5 million pounds, but 500,000. In another tweet, Musk was talking about adding 3 more Raptor vacuum to the ships. so it is evident that the Raptor 2.0 will have more thrust than the previous one. Another thing that we know about the Raptor 2 is that it's more streamlined than the first Raptor, so you can be sure that efficiency, power, and thrust will all be greater. As usual, SpaceX has kept things under wraps for a while since that time, with small snippets of their work on the Starship. But seeing the video uploaded on Twitter that shows the thrust power of the engine raises a lot of hopes with the uncertainty of the launch. We still need to have faith. We're waiting on the FAA assessment, which will be on February 28th. There are still a lot of tests that SpaceX is trying to work on to ensure that every part of the Starship is working perfectly to meet up with their objectives of 2022. As we know, the Starship is designed to take astronauts to the Moon, Mars, and other parts beyond Earth. Also, to reduce the space transportation cost, what will the Raptor 2 do for the mission? We know that the thrust will be greater, but what exactly will it do? Now, it's believed that the Raptor 2 will be producing more than 230 tons of thrust at sea level. This shows that the Starship can have up to 17 million pounds of thrust if everything works properly. This is even more than one of the most powerful rockets to take off from Earth. That was the Saturn V, which produced 7.6 million pounds of thrust. The Raptor 2 engine is hoping to produce more than 2 of that amount according to SpaceX and Elon Musk. Space enthusiasts are saying that with the thrust-powered Starship can lift up to 156 metric tons. That's almost 345,000 pounds to low Earth orbit. This means the thrust power is much heavier than the weight of the rocket itself. This allows for greater acceleration. Since the rocket is reusable, the ratio is great, as the higher the thrust to the weight will ensure that the rocket will accelerate the way SpaceX intends it to. SpaceX is continuing to ensure that the Starship launch goes according to plan, with the Raptor 2 engine an incredible addition to ensure the option performance. There are other projects that the space company is trying to put together, with the testing of the launch tower and others. SpaceX is getting ready for one of the most incredible events of the year. We are super excited, although we don't have such information about the Raptor 2 engine after the former tests. Are you excited about the Raptor 2 engine that SpaceX is now incorporating on the Starship reusable rocket? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, we have another like it of SpaceX revealing the new super heavy launch pad that will be used to launch the Starship into outer space.